Hey Heath, really good to talk to you. How you doing over there?
Yeah, not too bad at all. How are you?
Yeah, very good. I just want to get rid of the elephant in the room, first of all, because we were supposed to do this interview this morning and screwed up and put it in my calendar for next week. And you very graciously agreed to do it a little bit later on in the day, which is nice of you. But I'm just curious what the real Chopper Read would have done if I hadn't turned up for an appointment that he'd organised. What do you reckon?
Oh, I think I think the real chopper's probably not a morning person, to be honest. So there's a good chance he would have gone back to sleep and then woken
Yeah.
up sometime early afternoon, and then Googled cheap flights to New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
Probably some
And
sort of face-to-face demonstration.
yeah, do you think I would have ended up with fewer toes than I have kind of
Oh,
now?
I
Or
think there would have been some difficulty walking. You know what I mean? He's still a creative, even if he is ultra violent. So. Yeah, there would have been some sort of flair or panache, but would have
the,
been easier to appreciate for anyone but you,
the,
I'd say.
there would have been a penalty of some kind or another. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I interviewed you 11 years ago here in New Zealand, and you'd already been doing Chopper for a while. So how long have you actually been doing this character
I mean, in terms of getting paid for it, this is the 20th year, but there are a couple of years where it was a hobby before that. So yeah, 20 years, which is it's a shame to have to say it out loud, um, because in my head it only feels like it's been three or four, but yeah.
Yeah, that's extraordinary, isn't it? I guess now it must be almost like putting on, a comfortable jacket or a jersey or a t-shirt because you wear t-shirts a lot. He must feel really familiar to you now after all that
Yeah,
time.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I think when I first started doing this, people were saying, "This is difficult to get into character." And I'd be like, "Oh, there's a bit of stuffing around," and I do all those slightly method things where you pace and you repeat phrases and all that. But now it's flicking and switch. You know what I mean? Like it kind of reminds me of those retail workers who smile, and then as soon as you walk away, they just sort of turn off again. Or a little bit like the opposite of the toys from Toy Story or something like that.
He was a really nasty kind of man. So just refresh my memory as to what about him appealed to you in a comedic sense for you to try and channel him in some way.
Well, I think, I mean, I very rarely had anything to do with him. I was aware that he existed, but it was the Andrew Dominic film from 2001, I
Yeah.
believe, that sort of put him front and center for me. And it was, I guess it was a lot of it was Eric Banner's performance, that swinging wildly between sort of polite and rational and then sort of ultra violent. And I thought if I could tone down the violence a bit,
Yeah.
then there was a lot to play with. It was a big sort of
Yeah.
sandbox to work in.
Absolutely. So the show that you're bringing as part of the Comedy Fest is The Last Hard Bastard on Earth, and it's set in the future. Yeah. So is it is it a stand-up routine, or are you doing it kind of like a drama, or just explore that for me?
Oh, I'm definitely not doing it anything like a drama,
Yeah.
and I think everyone who does drama would be glad to hear me say that. No, I mean the basic premise is it's in 2030 the world has ended because people have just become far too soft. And so Chopper has figured out how to travel back through time 5 years in the hope that his sort of warning will save mankind from itself.
So is this an anti-woke piss take, or are you subtly getting at the right wing as well, or what? Bit of both. What's going on there?
I mean, I don't try not to wade into sort of sides of politics and things like that. Um, but I mean, and yeah, I think one of the things about the word woke is it depends who you are. It means totally different things. If you're on the kind of progressive side of politics, and it's a badge of honor, and if you're on the other side of politics, and one side thinks it's just annoying and naggy, and the other side thinks it's sort of righteous. But it's basically, oh, sorry to get bogged into that one. Yeah, it's basically, just sort of looking at everything that people do these days, and I mean, because so much of it's so ridiculous, like the hard part of Chopper is that I can't draw on any of my real personal experiences. I can't be like raising kids in the suburbs is a nightmare. So basically, all of Chopper's fodder is just looking around at all the stupid things that humankind gets up to, and thankfully we are at the point now where it's almost a never-ending conveyor belt of just nonsensical idiocy. So there's always plenty of material.
Well, it seems, particularly in politics, but actually even in social media, the more outrageous you are, the more kind of likes you get, or the more votes you get in some cases. It's kind of people seem to be attracted to weirdness now.
Yeah, and like I think it's not even weirdness. I think quality and engagement have separated from each other. It used to be in the early days of the internet that if you did something good, everyone would see it. But now there's almost a point where if you do something that's really irritating, it'll get far more engagement than something that's good because everyone wants to be like, oh my God, this is so annoying and get in the comment section. Whereas, if you do something that's entertaining and funny, then people will be like, yeah, like that. But so it's actually, I put a lot of clips up, and the one that got the most kind of engagement lately is one where I was accused of stealing a joke from someone. And so once again, I was just sort of really disheartened to be like, oh, it wasn't that this joke was funnier or of a better quality. It was just more irritating to a lot of people. So I kind of feel like we're at a point now where it's sort of asked backwards a bit, where it's, and I have to kind of remind myself a lot as well. Something annoying will pop up on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, I've got to tell these people just how annoying they are. And then I'm like, no, wait, that's what they want, Like there's so many clips on Facebook now that they just say watch to the end and nothing happens, and you're like, God damn it, I got done again. So yeah, I think there was a golden age of social media, and unfortunately we're just in the sewerage age of social media, and I'm desperately trying to swim around and keep my head above water.
And so are you taking pot shots at that as well?
A little bit. I mean, I've always sort of maintained a sort of joke first thing. So I have all these ideas and I walk around and I get angry and I put notes in my phone and all this kind of stuff. And then inevitably I rant and rave and I look at people and they're kind of like,
yeah.
And then, it's any jokes that work stay in, but anything that I need to get off my chest. I don't get audiences in a room for my own therapy. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, sorry, excuse me.
That's all right. You were saying, so you've got kids. How old are your kids now?
14 and 12.
So do you have any rules around social media or this kind of stuff with them?
Yeah, don't watch dad stuff. Is
that it?
Rule. No, I guess we're trying to keep them off it as much as we can. I mean, I have to admit, if I didn't need it for work, I would gladly kind of, never go there. But, the hard part with kids is that, I'm of that generation where I grew up without it. So for me, being without it seems really easy. But I think if you deprive them of that, then you're depriving them of the kind of their whole entry point access to all their friendship groups and things, So it's, it's a case of just sort of trying to monitor it as much as you can and make sure that they understand what it is as well is the main thing, just be like, a lot of it is pointless garbage. I described it the other day as having an in-flight magazine turned into confetti and thrown in your eyes. And I think that's a pretty decent description of it from my perspective anyway.
So obviously you're a popular comedian, but do you get borax thrown at you now still?
What, sorry?
Do you get people still criticizing you or throwing you? You're popular, but do you have people who criticize what you do and have a go at your, the jokes that you put out?
Yeah, not so much the jokes. But yeah, the one thing, once again, this is a sort of symptom of social media, is I had a couple of clips after COVID, I was putting clips up pretty regularly, and then I took a break, and then I started putting some clips up, and I noticed there was a lot more nasty comments under a lot of them, and then I realized that that's the sign of popularity. Because the clip's going so well, it's reaching an audience that you don't usually reach.
Right.
And so the side effect of that is people being like, this guy, I remember this guy, and I hate this guy. And it's like, oh, cool. Well, actually, what you are with your kind of hateful comments is a symptom of my success.
Yeah.
So it's this kind of weird, once you process that and people jump on and they're like, I thought this guy should have given it up 20 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, thanks for being the barometer of success, champ. You've really helped me out. And then they kind of don't know how to process that. So they wander off and I assume their head implodes or something like that.
So you do respond to them?
No, I let them go. Because
okay.
they kind of want attention. For me, in my head, it's kind of like, when a child rubs its own feces on the wall because they're desperate for some sort of attention, even if it's negative. I'm like, no, I'll just let you sit there in that, mate,
Yeah.
and help
Yeah.
yourself.
And yeah, that's a real big lesson in life to learn, isn't it? That you actually don't have to respond, particularly if someone's being a prick.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, because what, like, they want the fight, and as soon
Yeah.
as you don't give them the fight, then I mean, and the other thing that I have to kind of remind myself very early on is it's very easy now for people to do this sort of stuff.
Hmm.
And so every time I used to get a negative comment, instead of thinking it was a lucid person who'd sat down for an hour and carefully crafted it and sort of
Yeah.
tried to sum up exactly what it is about me that they would like to kind of eviscerate,
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the point now where I just imagine them sitting on the toilet with their pants around their ankles, absolutely inebriated at 1 a.m, just trying to type something so they don't pass out drunk. And when you think about it like that, you're like, yeah, cool, good on you, champ. You may not even remember this. So I'm happy to move on and, you know,
And if they are sitting on the toilet, maybe they're wiping the walls with it as well. You
yeah,
just never know. They may have never
exactly.
grown up from those childlike things. Hey, look,
Yeah, yeah.
a final question. What's your go-to comfort food? What would that be?
I don't know. I think it changes a lot, to be honest.
Yeah,
Go-to comfort food.
yeah.
I have to admit, I'm a real sucker for, I'm not sure if you have it in New Zealand, a Portos. Do you have a Portos?
I think we do. Yeah,
Portuguese fried
yeah, yeah,
chicken.
yeah.
Yeah, in like a double patty burger with lots of Portuguese chili
Yeah,
on it. And you
yeah.
kind of, before you eat it, you're like, this is going to save my life and turn my day around. And after you eat it, you're kind of like, I regret that just a little bit. Um, but yeah, that'd be it. It's the one that keeps getting me. It's the comment section of food. I keep wading in there and realizing I should.
Fair enough. Hey, look, thank you so much for your time, and looking forward to the show when it comes here, and all the best.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for taking the time for a chat again. And yeah, hopefully I'll bump into you around the show.
Brilliant.